Tonight, an American oil giant abandons plans to drill off Port Lincoln's coast. And a local Shiraz takes out a global award boosting the state's wine industry on the world stage.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. First tonight, the CFMEU says BGC employees will learn of their fate by the end of the month, with 55 positions to be axed from its mining operations near Whyalla. While the union has praised local management, it says the company's lack of transparency is hurting workers.
A fortnight ago, Southern Cross News revealed mining contractor BGC is planning to sack 50 people from its Southern Middleback Mines workforce, but the company is yet to publicly confirm its intentions. Local CFMEU officials say workers will learn their fate by the end of this month.
The 25th will be the date that they will make redundancies known out on the site. Then from there it will be 50 to 55 personnel.
Mr. Warner says the company will revert to just one circuit to service the multiple pits. While he's praised BGC's local management for keeping the union informed, he says its senior management lacks transparency.
Look, I've heard of rumours for the last 3 months about a set of redundancies, but there's been nothing concrete until now. And like I said, BGC weren't prepared for it.
Mr. Warner says workers are dismayed and concerned, as they thought the worst had passed since the mine's ownership was settled. He says many workers are wondering how they and their families will cope.
I sat with a wife of one of my members the other night, and she's going to me, Mario, can't do this again, second time, we'll end up losing our house. That's the panic that people have been put in.
BGC did not respond to Southern Cross News' inquiries today. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
American energy giant Chevron has abandoned oil exploration plans to drill off the Great Australian Bight. It follows BP's exit from the region, which is said to contain one of the largest oil deposits in Australia.
It's potentially one of the biggest untapped oil resources in the nation, and now that's likely how it will stay. This week, oil giant Chevron announced plans to abandon drilling off the coast of Port Lincoln after spending millions of dollars acquiring exploration permits. In a statement to Southern Cross News, Chevron said while the Bight is a prospective frontier, current low oil prices meant it's not able to compete for capital, making drilling off the coast unviable. The Port Lincoln mayor was shocked to hear of Chevron's sudden departure after visiting the company's Gorgon gas project off Western Australia this year. He believes it won't be the end of drilling.
It's a highly prospective area. The resource, we understand, is there and sooner or later will be developed.
Norwegian company Statoil remains the last big player to explore the Bight and have since firmed their position, taking over BP's plans to drill in the region. In a statement to Southern Cross News, Statoil says, "We are pleased to have found a way forward for our exploration project in the Bight. We have strengthened our position in the basin with large exploration upside." However, strict regulations forbid drilling before 2019.
The resource is there, the interest from the world is still there in this undeveloped and unexplored resource.
Chevron's plans to pull the plug followed protests earlier this year, which saw people line the beach in a show of solidarity. They believe environmental disasters like the 2010 oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico could potentially happen here.
It's been predicted from the oil spill modelling that if there was a spill here, it would affect all the waters, the Gulf waters here, Spencer and Gulf St Vincent, all across Victoria and even all the way across to southern New Zealand.
But the mayor is backing strict Australian safety standards with enormous upside for Port Lincoln.
A big positive impact on employment, on jobs, growth and housing.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
The state opposition has released its energy policy amid soaring electricity prices and South Australia's high energy debt. The Shadow Energy Minister believes the policy is the right step for regional households, but Labor has slapped it down.
Power prices that not everyone can afford. According to the latest report by the nation's energy regulator, more than 35,000 SA residents have an electricity debt.
Well, this is incredibly important. All South Australians, from the smallest household to the largest employer, have been suffering under unacceptably high and increasing electricity prices for years now.
An ACCC report released yesterday shows the closure of Alinta's coal-fired power station contributed to a sharp increase in electricity prices, with the state's grid now relying on costly gas. The Liberals say they'll target power prices by building an interconnector between SA and New South Wales.
Comparing the wholesale price in the 16-17 financial year to where it would be when our policy is fully implemented in 2021-22 would deliver a saving of $302 to the average household in South Australia.
But Labor has been scathing of this policy, saying the state opposition leader has conceded that the interconnector would only save households on average $60 to $70 by 2022. The State Energy Minister says he's doubtful the interconnector would eventuate, but the opposition is adamant its independently analysed policy will stand the test of time.
So the independent analysis that's been done on our policy makes it very clear that the decrease in wholesale spot prices for electricity that our policy will deliver over time are very, very significant.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
A Clare Valley winery has received worldwide recognition with an illustrious industry award. A $30 bottle of Taylor's Wines Shiraz was named the most awarded wine, the first time any Australian winery has been labelled with such an honour.
Taking the Australian wine story around the world.
Around Australia and around the world, there are many wine competitions. We enter them. We've won many awards. And the cumulative total of that success leads you to get recognised by this association.
A bottle of the 2014 Jarraman Shiraz, made in the heart of the Clare Valley, has taken out the most awarded wine at the World Ranking of Wines and Spirits competition this year. Chief winemaker Adam Eggins believes the relationship between the oak barrels and the time frame in which the wine is stored in there for is why they're doing so well.
Enough fruit and wine oak balance, then they'll come out of barrel and get prepared for bottling. The whole process can take around 18 to 24 months at the Jarraman kind of level.
He also says a strong focus on improving the wine itself is clearly leading to better results.
For the last 5 or so years, we haven't been focused about competitions and we haven't been focused about really who wins. We've been focusing on beating ourselves.
The award-winning wine is now boosting Clare's strong wine industry on the map across the globe.
It's just nice to be recognised internationally for this belief we've always had, that we can make world-class wines in the Clare.
The winemakers know all too well, though, the competition will be even tougher next year.
I am nervous about the future because I think this is a wonderful thing to win, but I think our competitors will come.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Still to come on Southern Cross News, the New South Wales state opposition raises serious questions over the Broken Hill pipeline project. The New South Wales Labor Party is calling for the Broken Hill pipeline project to be paused amid concerns over its impact on the environment. The state opposition says the project lacks a clear description of what effects it would have on surrounding areas.
Stop the cloak and dagger.
It's another instance of the government just cloaking this pipeline in secrecy. Every time there's a document that would explain the circumstances behind it, they bury it.
The opposition has once again accused the state government of shrouding the Murray River pipeline with secrecy, this time claiming it's refusing to release the environmental impact statement.
They don't want to release the true nature of this case because the numbers don't add up, and ultimately it'll be the people of Broken Hill that have to bear the cost.
The Shadow Minister has labelled it a $500 million boondoggle, and the region will end up having to foot the bill.
There's an environmental impact statement if the government leases a cafe in a hospital, and that the value of that might be $100,000. I mean, this is a $500 million project.
Labor is calling for the pipeline to be paused until the business case for the project is released, and all cases of water theft allegations are finalised. At the moment, the pipeline is out to tender, but Mr Min says that shouldn't stop the government from showing people how much they will pay for water.
It could be in excess of $20 million a year. Will that be shared exclusively by the people of Broken Hill? I mean, this information is made available to the tenderers of the project. It needs to be made available to the people that will pay the bills.
Patrick Roinke, Southern Cross News.
Port Pirie Regional Council has announced plans to build an indoor aquatic centre as part of the redevelopment of the sports precinct. Council says if all goes to plan, the town will have a brand new centre early next year.
The sports precinct is progressing quickly. Council says in the next week, grass will be laid down and concrete will begin to be poured. And while construction continues on the oval across the road, an indoor aquatic centre will soon be built. The new aquatic centre will feature water play equipment for children under 10 and it'll play host to parties and events.
That's a water slide, that's a nets to climb, that's a water bucket that will tip over people and a whole heap of other activities.
The equipment comes at a heavy cost, but Council's positive the investment will be worthwhile.
The extra addition of the pay equipment's roughly about $350,000, but we believe it'll bring significant value to the new facility and also be an attraction, so we suspect it'll pay itself off in a short period of time.
The water will be heated, so everyone will be able to enjoy the pool no matter the weather.
So it'll be available all year round rather than currently the outdoor pool's only open for a couple of months of the year. So this will provide a lot more flexibility for the new facility.
With no major roadblocks in construction so far, the pool is on time for opening in February next year.
At this stage, everything's running to plan, on budget and on time.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
$140 million of prized bluefin tuna has been exported overseas during this season's Port Lincoln harvest. The seafood industry in the town is worth $400 million to the state's economy, and experts say demand is continuing to soar globally.
It's Port Lincoln's bread and butter, and it's once again proven to be a successful year, the industry marking another lucrative tuna season.
A good season, not brilliant. We had a few mortalities from health issues, but that's to be expected. You learn every year more and get better, and that's what we need to do.
Southern bluefin tuna is highly sought after as an export, as it injects nearly $150 million into the local economy.
Even when you get problems each year, the quality continues to improve, and it needs to. If you're not improving your continuous improvement strategy and improving your quality, then you may as well give up the game.
Experts say that quality is what sets Port Lincoln apart from the rest of the world. Japanese boats anchor off the coast to collect their catch straight from our water.
The buyer knows that if they buy our frozen stock, then it'll be stable each year, whereas the other countries go up and down.
With ever-increasing quotas, gone are the days of tuna poles, but what remains is the same creative ingenuity.
The strength of Port Lincoln is the bush engineering genius that's globally known and admired. But how do you keep up the supply of people, skills, initiative?
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
After the break, a local start-up named Business of the Year in Whyalla. That story next. BHP is holding local buying program information sessions for the region's businesses who hope to become suppliers for the company. It says the local businesses which meet the program's eligibility criteria have an opportunity to provide goods and services to Olympic Dam's operation. Today, the company held information sessions in Port Augusta before it hosts several in Whyalla and Roxby Downs later this week. BHP's local buying specialist says successful businesses can expect to start supplying to Olympic Dam's operation within weeks.
So go live date is the 30th of October, so at the end of this month is essentially when work instructions will be released to those local businesses, and we're really excited to see where it goes.
There'll be an increased police presence around Broken Hill as the town begins to ramp up preparations for the Silver City Cup. Racegoers are encouraged to look after themselves and be responsible over the busy weekend. Here's Patrick with this week's Police Talk.
Everyone loves a day at the races. Even our local police love to take part, but they say it's important to be responsible.
We just want to see everyone have a safe time and a good time.
Officers will be out in full force over the race weekend, in pubs, clubs and on our roads.
The chances of being breath tested over the weekend significantly higher than normal. And don't forget also, every random breath test station now, a random drug testing station.
Their message, if you risk it, you're going to get caught.
Things are working very well. Often we do have a few individuals who might spoil the fun for everyone. However, very well-run events from our recent history.
Police say they'll be working closely with organisers to make sure it's an enjoyable and safe event. Motorists are being reminded that they won't just be targeted at night, they can also expect to be targeted to and from the races.
They'll be around all day and evening. It's not just at the end of the night. And obviously, if you get breath tested earlier in the day, it certainly might put you on notice that you'll probably be breath tested later in the day as well.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
A local startup has been crowned Whyala's Business of the Year at the annual Chamber of Commerce dinner. The owners of Head Catering say they're thrilled to be recognised after taking the risk to pursue their love of cooking as a business venture.
5 days on from being crowned Business of the Year, and there's no rest for Nathan and Kate Head. The husband and wife duo are busy cooking up a storm for clients across the region every week.
When we started, we were probably only doing 12 to 15 functions a year, and they were mainly weddings. The last 2 years, we probably do 4 functions a week.
What was a side passion has become their life for the pair, and they're now Whyala's Business of the Year. Kate says the award makes all the sacrifices they've made worthwhile.
Just being able to produce beautiful food that we love cooking, that really sparked an interest for us.
As well as the business side, the judges chose the local business for its involvement in the community. They teach commercial cookery at a Port Augusta high school and also run a Work for the Dole program 5 days a week.
This program we run here is just very rewarding. We absolutely love teaching cooking as well.
They plan on expanding over the next 12 months to undertake more work outside of Whyala. But for now, they're enjoying being award winners.
To win an award like that in the Whyala community for our small, safe, family-run catering business just means so much to us.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us after the break. Nicole will have all the local weather.
A mostly sunny day in Port Augusta. I'll have the details for the rest of the region next. Welcome back to the weather now. The temperature cracked the 30s today right across the region. Clear skies in Port Augusta for 35, just a touch cooler in Whyala hitting 34. Plenty blue overhead today in Port Lincoln and Broken Hill, and much the same in Adelaide as well for 33. Having a look at the satellite, a pretty clear day despite a bit of cloud about in the east of the state. On the Gulf waters, we're in for north-northeasterly winds of up to 20 knots. Seas at around 1.5 metres. The sun will come up at 6:36, sunset after 7:30. Looking like another pretty fine day tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine on offer in Port Augusta as the temperature pushes up to 36. 34 the top in Whyala, Port Pirie and Cleve. It'll be a similar temperature in Kadina and Adelaide too for 33. Looking ahead, a bit of a change on the way. Showers in Port Lincoln for the next few days, but they will be clearing in time for the weekend. A cooler change coming through for Cleve later this week, dropping down to 19 on Friday. And it'll be a sunny start to the weekend in Woodena after a bit of cloud. Cooler temperatures also on the way for Whyala, only climbing to 22 on Saturday, sliding down from a top of 36 in Port Augusta tomorrow, down to 25 by the end of the week. And a similar pattern in Kadina as well, the odd shower about before moving on for a cloudy Friday. Skies will be clearing in Port Pirie for a lovely weekend, reaching 24 Saturday. A little cooler in Clare for 19, and showers will be clearing in Broken Hill to make way for lots of sunshine on the weekend. So, Fraser, a bit of a mix this week, but we are in for a lovely weekend.
That's good news. Thanks, Nicole. And that is all the news to now. Thanks for your company. I'll have updates a little later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.